Okay, so it's just gone 7 o'clock on a Monday morning, and I'm out again planting willow cuttings in my local area. So I thought I'd get out nice and early so as not to arouse suspicion, and so the youth don't pull up any of the cuttings that I've planted. So I'll come back to you in a bit. Okay, so we're on our way to plant the first few willow cuttings, and don't be deceived into thinking that this is a rural area. It's really close to a very busy road, a school and a hospital, and the traffic round here is usually quite bad. You get occasional lulls in it for about 10 or 20 seconds, but there's usually wall-to-wall traffic for most of the day. So we're going to get our first few in these sidings here, where they're not likely to get pulled up and where there isn't too much tree cover. Okay, this is a good spot here. As you can see, there's a little bit of tree cover, but the tree cover's further back. Okay, so we've just planted around a dozen there, and as you can see, got quite clear sky where these when these willows start going for it, they're not likely to run into conflict with these two mature trees due to the gap in between. So on to our next place, and I've probably got about 300 cuttings left, and I'm going to do my very best to get them all planted over the next few days, as many of them have started sprouting. So we'll come back to you in a few minutes. I've just got to post a parcel at a shop round the corner, and then we'll get on with planting more of them. Right, so here's another spot where I'm going to stick some willow. I've been thinking about this place for ages, and it's right at the side of a school, and as I say, the roads in this area are quite busy, so I'm hoping that I'm just out of the way enough from there's a CCTV camera that's been installed to stop fly tipping. I think I'm out of the way enough, so let's get on with it. Right, so I've just planted around 20 in this area here, and I'm going to get out of the way and get a few more planted. I've noticed a few dog walkers and school kids about, so I'm going to get on with it now. So I'll catch up with you in a bit. Right, here's another area. This is ripe for planting in. As you can see, there's not going to be any shading from any of the trees, so while it's still quiet and this bit of Bolton's waking up, we're going to get some more in. Right, so we've just put another 20 in this area here, and as I mentioned earlier about the road, you usually get lulls in the traffic for about 10 seconds. I don't know if you can see, but it started to build up there, so with any luck we can plant hundreds of these willow in the area. It might help ecologically. So we're going to get a few more in just a bit further up. As you see, we've got clear sky, so there's not going to be any shading from other trees. Okay, so we've planted in 4 different locations this morning, and what we're going to do, as with all the other plantings that I've done, we're going to come back and we're going to make a short video later in the year just to see how all these willow cuttings have taken, and it makes loads of sense to do this as our urban environments become ever more eaten up by concrete and tarmac. Willow cuttings are very, very easy to grow, and very, very cheap if you end up having to buy them. So I'm just going to go home for now, and I'll catch up with you later on as we're approaching the main road, and it's about to get a load more noisier. So if I get the chance later on, I'll plant more. Okay, so good morning from sunny Bolton. It's just before 7 o'clock, and I've just loaded this carrier bag up with willow cuttings, and we're off out into the urban environment to plant yet more cuttings in my local area. So without further ado, let's get out there before the world wakes up properly. Right, so we're just walking up to the first spot where we're going to plant some of these willow cuttings, and it's a beautiful morning. Sun's not up, it's quite cloudy, but it's great to be out and to hear the dawn chorus. So behind these houses here, it's quite a big council estate, and then over there we have a large hospital, and I think there's a small dairy farm over there, which is a bit strange given how built up it is around here. So we're going to plant some over here, and you don't get tons of people using this area, so it'll probably be the case that most of these willow cuttings will survive and will get to grow. And I probably should have put a pair of boots on. I can feel my feet getting a bit soggy, but who cares? It's lovely to be out, and got a job to do. So I've just spotted a woman on her way to work over there, so I'll just wait till she's passed, and then we'll get on with planting these willow cuttings. So we're going to put them, well, this first lot just on the other side of this little mound where they probably won't be disturbed. Alright, so let's get on with it. Right, so we've just climbed to the top of this little hill thing. I'm just going to have a quick pan round before we start planting these cuttings. And there's the council estate that I mentioned. Oh, there's quite a big one. And as I say, this area here isn't too used. I think you get dog walkers here sometimes. But it's a good spot for me. And let's get on with it before the world wakes properly. Okay, so there's not a great deal to show you really. I mean, there's not a lot of light, and the willow cuttings are quite camouflaged really, which we want. But I've planted around about 25 in this area, all dotted about, and I've done them off the path because, as I say, some people do come through here dog walking and using it as a shortcut to get to the hospital. So quite happy with the first few that I've got down, so we're going to move on to another spot now. Okay, so all the way up this little hill here we've just planted around, probably around 25, and what I've done Pardon me changing hands with the camera. I've planted them in clumps of around 6. So I'm going to do something now. This takes me back to when I did a permaculture design course. I was chatting with a willow specialist, and he explained to me that in the natural world, when you get pieces of willow that float up rivers, that further down when they end up on the bank, that they end up planting and colonising an area. So I'm going to throw a few cuttings in this little urban stream here. It might work, it might not, but I've got that many cuttings. It'd seem a shame not to do it. So just going to sling them in. There's quite a bit of an incline there, so they will get carried. And there we are. You can see a few of them have already started floating down. So we've got one more spot to cover, and then I'm going to go home. Got quite a lot to do today. It's permaculture and wellbeing session over in Dean in Bolton, and taking collection of some raised beds. So I'll get the rest of these planted and I'll bugger off. Okay, so that's a lot planted, around 50 or 60 I'd say, maybe a bit more. So again, there's not a lot to show you, but here's a little clump of cuttings that I've put in. And one of the reasons I chose this site specifically is it's very, very damp. Even during the hot summer, it's quite damp, so all of these willow are going to be able to utilise the moisture in the ground, and they should all take successfully. There's another little clump there, and I threw another handful in this this little stream. There's still a few down there. You might just be able to make them out on top of the stones, but I'm sure once it rains they'll get pushed down, and you never know, they could end up on a bank somewhere and growing, and anchoring themselves to the earth. So like I say, I'm going to nip home now. I've got a busy day. Thanks for watching, and look after each other in these turbulent and strange times. And if you haven't done already, please subscribe to my channel. There'll be a lot more better quality videos coming along soon, and hope you have a great day. Bye for now.